Shrishtam manamabi Shachipurtam Atra Surupam Rupam Tasya Kachamuri Purim Maturim Goshvatim Radha Kundama Girivaram Aho Radhika Madhvasam Rapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Guru Tammanatosmi Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadali Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namah Ananda Leelamaya Vikrahaya Prema Bhadevyachave Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshe Tilpasta Kamaditoram Kamadhi Kripa Mahitam Sharanam Prapana Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Govinda Dham Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Saketi Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Shama Sundar Sakanda Shekhar Smaraha Smurali Manohara Radhikara Sakamama Kripanidhi Supriya Charna King Karim Kuru Tavai Vasmi Na Jivami Tayavana Iti Vikyaya Devi Tam Namam Charanam Tikam. First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers thousands of times, at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev, Asmadiya Paramaradhatama Guru Pada Padma, Nitilila Pravisht Om Vishnupad Ashtol Tarastasri Rupanuga Charivarya Sila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev, to Srila Prabhupada, and to our entire Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Vanchakalpatarubhastha Kripasindhuveta Utitanam Bhavani Vaishnavi. Srila Gurudeva ki jai. By the causeless mercy of Sri Gauranga Gauranga, from all over the world, the devotees have assembled together here at Chaitanya Academy, Venice, to celebrate the days leading up to and including Sri Krishna Janmastami Maha Mahotsava ki and Sri Nandotsava and the Vyasa Puja Day, Sri Vyasa Puja Day of our Param Puja Pad Nitilila Prishta Om Vishnupada Shtotara Sata Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So this occasion is unlimitedly auspicious for us. This morning, on the first day of the festival, we want to discuss again the subject of Sri Guru-tattva. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he said that year, no, that month, no, that day, no, that hour, no, that minute, no, that second, no, that microsecond that I forget the lotus feet of Sri Guru, then that is the greatest calamity. You can think about what the common person thinks is the greatest calamity. Perhaps they may think of an earthquake or the breakout of a pandemic, a big breakout of disease, or a comet striking the earth and causing the extinction of all living beings. These sound like great calamities, but Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, no, these are not great calamities. It's just karma. This is not even news. Every day the news is the same. Karma is going on. All the living beings are being fried in the frying pan of material existence. This is the only news. So, what is a great calamity? Or that microsecond, I forget the service of the lotus feet of Sri Gurudev. This is the greatest calamity. Why? It seems like hyperbole. It seems like exaggeration. But it is no exaggeration at all. In the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, you can see on our screen, Sri Narad Muni, he was instructing Maharaj Prachinabahi. Maharaj Prachinabahi was a king who was very much fixed in and addicted to performing the punya karma, Vedic rituals, in order to secure for himself some elevated position in the material world. So Narad Muni was enlightening him, and he spoke this verse. We can chant, you can repeat. Savai priyatamaschatma yato na bhayamanvapi iti vedas savai vidvan yo vidvan sa guru hari. Savai priyatamaschatma iti veda. It's saying that if a person understands, if someone knows, if someone realizes that the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Soul is Priyatama, most dear, and the soul is dear, one's own soul is also dear, then that person, yato na bhayam anvapi, that person will never ever experience even a minute particle of fear. Anuvapi. Na bhayam anvapi. They'll have not even the slightest particle of fear or anxiety in their life. If they only understand what is really dear to you. Generally, under the influence of ignorance, we think, oh, my house, my dog, my family, or my body, or my country, my car, my money, all these things are dear to me. But actually, whatever is dear to us is only dear to us because of its relationship with this body. If you die, and then your soul will take birth somewhere else, then the previous family, you forgot about it completely, and now in the new context, the love is, attachment is projected in the new context. So, whatever is dear to us in this world is dear to us because this body is dear to us. But this body is dear to us only because of the presence of the soul. If you leave your body, and then you take birth somewhere else, now that body becomes dear to you, and the previous body is Ram Naam Satya Hai. will be carried to the cremation ground and set on fire. And you will not care for it at all. But why is this body dear to us? Only because of the soul. And why is the soul dear to us? Because inside the soul there is Paramatma, the Supreme Soul. So, whatever affection we feel for anything, that is actually misplaced. The actual object of affection is our Atma, and the natural object of affection of the Atma is Paramatma, the Supreme Soul, the Supreme Lord in the heart. So one who knows that, he never fears. Because the soul, it cannot be cut by any weapon. It cannot be burnt by fire. It cannot be withered by the wind. It cannot be killed. Cannot die under any circumstances. And also, because the Supreme Lord is dear to the soul, and the soul is dear to the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is our best friend. And He is Ishwara. He is the controller of everything. And because you can imagine that if your best friend is actually in control of the whole universe, then what problem will come to you? If you have friends in high places, then you can overcome so many difficulties. Once, one bank froze one account. And then I had a friend whose friend was the manager of the whole company. So then I said, oh, can you call him? And then at once it was unfrozen. So if you have a friend in a high place, then you can overcome difficulties. If you have a friend in the highest place, the person who is managing the entire universe, all time and space, forever, easily, without any effort, who is omnipotent, all-powerful, omnipresent, He is present everywhere, omniscient, all-knowing, and especially omnibenevolent. Omnibenevolent, that means all kind to everyone. So if you have such a friend, then what problem is there in life? There cannot be any problem, there cannot be any fear. All fear comes when we see things as if they're existing as swatantra vastu, independent substances from the Supreme Lord. When we have dvitiya abhinivesh, abhinivesh means absorption. In what? Dvitiya, the idea that there's something separate from, independent from, and existing separately from the Supreme Lord. So, Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshata syat ishada petasya viparya smriti. Our understanding of reality becomes inverted. Instead of seeing the existence of the Supreme Lord everywhere, we see a nightmare, a world which is a hostile environment with dangers and predators coming from all corners. And then we feel fear, we feel anxiety. So that feeling comes from ishad apayitasya, turning the consciousness away from the Supreme Lord. So a person in this world who is conditioned, who cannot see Krishna, how can he turn his attention towards the Supreme Lord? Which direction does he have to turn? Is the Supreme Lord over there? Over? It doesn't matter which way he turns, he cannot see Krishna. So it seems like a catch-22. The cause of our anxiety And suffering is that we have turned away from the Lord, but we cannot turn towards Him because we don't know how to do it. Which way to turn, where to look. So here, Narad Muni is saying, Iti Veda Savai Vidvan, one who has realized love for the Supreme Lord, one who has realized his soul's relationship with Krishna, Savai Vidvan, he is a learned person. If a person has 2 master's degrees and 2 PhDs, this does not make them learned. Knowing everything about the plane of ignorance is not knowledge. So one who has realized the beautiful form of Sri Krishna and his relationship with Sri Krishna, he is Vidvan and he never experiences any fear. Now, Yo Vidvan Sa Gurur, in the last line, Yo Vidvan Sa Guru. And that learned person is called Guru. Because only a person who has realized knowledge, who is truly spiritually educated, not theoretically educated, actually realized, can teach others how to become realized. So Yo Vidvan, one who has such a realization, he is called Guru. So Yo Vidvan Sa Gurur, one more word, Hari. And that person is also Hari. It doesn't mean that the individual soul of that saint is directly the Supreme Lord. But it means that that person who is fully surrendered to the will of Krishna becomes the transparent medium by which Krishna communicates to the world. And in fact, the form of Sri Guru is considered to be one form of Krishna. Guru Krishna Rupahya Shastra Pramane Guru Rupa Krishna Kripa Karan Bhaktagane. The Supreme Lord only interacts with his own internal spiritual potency. He does not interact with the Tatastha Jivas, the souls in this world who are conditioned, and with the material energies. He only interacts with his own internal potency. So when there is a saint in this world who is filled with Bhakti Shakti, with the power of Krishna's own internal potency of devotion, then the Supreme Lord interacts with that person. Then when we surrender to that saint, when we surrender to Sri Guru and become connected with him, now by that link we become connected with Krishna. When we align our will with the will of Sri Guru, now we've become aligned with the will of Sri Krishna. And the spiritual energy can come to us. The Samvit Shakti is Swayam Prakash, Krishna's self-revealing potency. Just as you can only see the sun, not by your own energy, but by the energy coming from the sun. So one can only see Krishna by the energy coming from Sri Krishna. So from Sri Krishna, that Samvit Shakti, the self-revealing potency, comes to Sri Guru. And when we are connected with Sri Guru through seva service, then that potency comes to us. And we may also have the darshan of the beauty of Sri Krishna. So Guru Krishna Rupaya Shastra Pramane. The form of Guru is one form of Krishna. What type of form? It is the form of Krishna through which he distributes mercy in this world. Otherwise, it does not have any interference or thought or connection towards material existence at all, towards Maya. So, it is essential. Once the living entity who was wandering in this material world for many lifetimes, he comes in contact with Sri Guru. It is essential to follow the instruction of the spiritual master. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Korya Aikya. Oh, my prayer is that my heart should become one with the words emanating from the lotus mouth of Sri Guru. So the order of Guru must be followed. Our beautiful Shama Sundar appeared in this Kali Yuga in the form of Gaura Sundar Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And through his pastimes, he taught all the various details of how to become successful on the path of bhakti. One day, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after returning from South India, he had arrived in Jagannath Puri. Various devotees from around India were arriving there to join him. So at that time, the servant, the personal servant of Ishwarapuri, that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's own spiritual master, he arrived there. And he bowed down to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he said, "My name is Govinda. And I was the personal servant of your Guru Maharaj Ishwarapuri. But just before your Guru was leaving this world, he told me, you should go and serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I have, after the disappearance of Sri Ishwarapuri Pad, now I have come here to take shelter and serve your lotus feet." When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this, he was thinking, oh, my Gurudev, he always has the Vatsalya Bhav. That means parental love towards me. My Guru has such a feeling, not like one father, millions of fathers and millions of mothers. Guru has more affection for the disciple than millions of fathers and mothers. And Mahaprabhu was thinking, even at the last moment when he was about to leave, he remembered me and he wanted to give some mercy to me. So Mahaprabhu said to Govinda, it is only his causeless mercy that he has sent you here. So at that time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the great scholar, previously in the impersonalist tradition of Shankaracharya's Mayavad, but who had now become a Param Bhagavat, topmost Vaishnava devotee by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said to Mahaprabhu, oh, why did your Guru Maharaj, Ishwarapuri, keep a servant who was a Shudra? Because he was a sannyasi, and generally sannyasis, when they're traveling, they stay in the homes of Brahmanas. But he had a servant who was a Sudra from the laborer caste, not from the priestly caste. And Govinda used to cook for him and wash his cloth and so on. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, the qualities of the Supreme Lord are also present in Shri Guru. So just as Krishna is Paramasvatantra, supremely independent of scriptural injunction, so my Guru is also independent of worldly considerations of the Smriti Shastra. Completely independent. We see that generally great Vaishnavas, they follow the Smriti Shastra which are favorable for bhakti to set a good example for others. But those who are in the path of spontaneous love, they're not beholding to any vidhi, any regulations of this world. So Mahaprabhu said, just like Krishna himself, he went to the house of Vidura and he accepted prasadam from Vidura, though Vidura was the son of a maidservant. So in the same way, my Gurudev, he accepted service from Sri Govinda. But the reason is this. Sneha lesha peksha matra Sri Krishna kripa Sneha vasha hoya kare swatantra achar. Sri Krishna's kripa, the mercy of Krishna, is only dependent on sneha, affection. What to speak of a lot of affection? Sneha lesha, even if someone has a little affection, then Krishna's mercy goes to that person. In fact, Sneha Vashahaya Kari Swatantra Acha, Krishna is controlled by affection. And therefore, being under the control of affection, he does not necessarily follow the etiquette, the protocol of society. So in the same way, Mahaprabhu was explaining that his spiritual master, Srila Ishwar Puri, accepted the service of his disciple, Govinda. Why? Because of Govinda's affection, his sneha. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, the conclusion is this, that affectionate dealings which are performed with love from the core of the heart, they are superior to dealings which are based on rules and regulations, maryada. In fact, when the pure devotee only hears the word sneha, then he becomes in ecstasy. Sneha, affection. What is this sneha? This means without considering one's own happiness, thinking of this at all, one is only thinking how to give happiness to the object of love. Really, this sincere, selfless action and feeling, just give happiness to the object of love. In this case, Govinda's affection for Ishwara Puri. This is so powerful. Only the word sneha makes the pure devotees go into ecstasy just hearing that sound. So deliberate upon it carefully. Service should be done with the sneha, affection. So then, Mahaprabhu, he embraced his godbrother and welcomed him. Oh, welcome to Jagannath Puri. And he was feeling that his Guru's mercy was coming to him through his godbrother. Though this godbrother was taking the role of his own servant, a junior position. But he saw, this is the mercy of my Gurudev. But then, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu turned to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. First, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had the question, why did Ishwara Puri accept service from a Shudra? Now Mahaprabhu himself has a question for Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He said, consider this point. The personal servant of the Guru is most respectable, adaraniya, should be honored. So, how is it possible that I can accept the service of my Guru's own personal servant? How can I do this? Because this is against maryada, that is against etiquette. What should I do? Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he said, oh Mahaprabhu, your spiritual master gave him the order, go and serve. You should go and serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So because it was the order of your Guru, even though it is not something commonly done or it is outside the general etiquette, but because it was the order of your Guru, therefore you should accept his service also. Because the order of the spiritual master is Balavan. It is so strong. It cannot be disobeyed. And this is the conclusion of all the scriptures. So in the Sanskrit drama, Raghubanks, there is a verse. Sasusravan matari bhagavena piturni yogat paritam dushadvat pratyagrihid agraja shashanam tad agya gurunam hyavacharaniya. This the last line of the verse is very famous. Agya gurunam hyavacharaniya. It means the agya, the order, gurunam, of one's seniors, in the plural, gurunam. The order of the seniors, hyavacharaniya. should not be negotiated. The word vichar means to deliberate. So we can think, if an ordinary person tells you, oh, you should do this, then you can think, should I do it or not? You can do vichar. And if you think that you should not do it, then you can negotiate. Well, I'm not so sure about it. You can begin to negotiate with that person. But here, avacharaniya, the order of Guru, is not negotiable. It should not be deliberated upon. But one should simply fulfill that instruction. This is so important. In this verse, from the Raghuvansh, it is describing the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. You know that Lord Ramachandra was about to be coronated as the crown prince. But on the day before, his stepmother, we can say, one of his mother's co-wives, Kaikeyi, she took a boon from Dasrath Maharaj. Oh, Ram should go to the forest in exile for 14 years. It was such an unreasonable request, but the king had promised that he would give her whatever she asked for. And so he could not go back on his word. So then Lord Ramachandra, he heard from his father he has to go, instead of becoming the prince, the crown prince, and then the future king of the world. Can you imagine? You're about to become the emperor of the world, and then you just get some last minute news. Oh, by the way, that's been cancelled. You have to go and live in the forest for 14 years. Huh? What would you say? But. I don't believe it. It's not true. Pinch me. Am I dreaming? Call my lawyer. You would have so many excuses. But Lord Ramachandra, he said that aham hi vachanadragya patiyam apipavake vakshayam bisham tikshnam majjayam apicharnave. On the order of my father, then I can jump into blazing fire. If my father will order me to jump in a fire, then immediately I'll jump in the fire. Listen carefully. Don't allow your mind to flow according to the ways of this world. If you allow your mind to flow according to the ways, thoughts, conceptions of this world, you will stay in this world. So we have to hear deeply, and so that our thoughts will conform and be in harmony with the conception of Shastra, become Shastra Chakshu, seeing through the eyes of the scripture. He said, if my father will tell me to jump in fire, I'll jump in a fire. If he will tell me to drink deadly poison, a very fresh, severe poison, I'll take poison at once. Or if you say jump into the middle of the ocean, I'll jump into the middle of the ocean. And so in this way, Lord Ramachandra, he convinced his brother Lakshman that he should follow this order. Why? Because Agya Guru Nam hi avicharaniya. Can you say? Agya Guru Nam hi avicharaniya. Yagya Guru Nam hi avicharaniya. Okay. Beautiful. Now, Lord Ramachandra, I am sitting here giving the example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's giving the example of Lord Ramachandra, who's giving the example of Parashuram. So in this verse, he's saying, Sasusava Matri Bhagavena. Bhargava means here the Parashuram. One day, Parashuram is the son of the great Rishi Jamadagni. So Jamadagni was in his beautiful ashram in the forest with his son, with his wife, Renuka. And so every day he was performing sacrifices and various duties. And every day his wife had to bring a clay pot from water at a particular time. So one day she went to one lake to draw fresh water. And when she arrived there, she saw that the king of Gandharvas was there. Like a beautiful demigod from the higher planets was there with so many beautiful apsaras. And they were playing in the water. And the king of the Gandharvas was very beautiful and decorated in a garland of lotus flowers. And she saw this beautiful scene. And also, just parked on the bank of the lake was a colorful chariot of the king of Gandharvas. And so Renuka, she went there, but seeing this astonishing celestial scene, she became enchanted and she was just watching. And as she was watching in that state of enchantment, she forgot about the time. And time was passing. And then after some time, she realized, oh, I'm taking too long. So then she filled the pot with water and she carried it back to the ashram. And she was so ashamed because she was late. Every day Jamadagni would do his sacrifices and his prescribed duties exactly on time. But this day he was late, so she was ashamed and she put the pot down in front of him. So then Jamadagni, he is a great rishi. He could understand what had happened by his meditation only. Oh, she was, instead of doing her duties, she was looking at some beautiful sparkly things. Attractive king of the Gandharvas, male Gandharva. So he immediately told to his sons, you should cut off the head of your mother. And then his sons, they hesitated. Well, we're not sure about that. What did they do? Vichar. They began to deliberate. They began to negotiate. But Jamadagni was not in a mood for negotiations. So then he turned to his other son. Just then, Parashuram came there. And he told him, because they disobeyed me, you should cut off the heads of your brothers and cut off the head of your mother also. So then Parashuram, he is famous for having an axe. He killed, later after this pastime, he killed 21 generations of all the Kshatriyas and he made a mountain of their heads. So he's kind of, he's the barbarian incarnation. So Jamadagni, he said to Parashuram, cut off the head of your mother and your brothers. And at once, he was so fast, like a blender. And they were all dead. So then his father was very pleased with him for obeying his instruction. And he said, I'll give you a benediction. What do you want? He said, please give me this benediction that my mother and all my brothers will come back to life and they won't remember anything that happened. You see? So then Jamadagni, by his mystic power, he blessed them and everyone came back to life just like as if they were waking up from a nice rest. They were fully refreshed. As if nothing had happened. So this is a pastime of the avatar Parashuram. And Lord Ramachandra is quoting it. It is to teach us about the necessity of following the order of the spiritual master. Perhaps you are new to Vedic culture and you're thinking, wow, this teaching is insane. There's no way I'm going to cut off my mother's head. It's not about that at all. We have to be the Saragrahi, that is, take the essence of the scripture. In the Vedic scriptures and also in the pastimes of the avatars, they do astonishing things to give us a jolt and shock us out of our materialistic consciousness and come in touch with absolute transcendental principles. So don't take away from this that it's auspicious to kill your mother. That's not the teaching. Here the teaching is, it is auspicious. It is fully auspicious to follow the order of Guru, even if we ourselves don't understand how it's going to be auspicious for us. This is the point. Because that's why we can enter into a negotiation. Because we calculate, oh, well, what will happen? We become once an astrologer and try to calculate, if I do this, what will happen? If I do this, what will happen? No, receive the order, follow the order, and what will happen? Only auspiciousness will come of it. Actually, perhaps you know, previously, Parashuram had killed the king Kartavya Arjuna because he had stolen his father's cow, Kamadhenu, wish-fulfilling cow. And when Jamadagni heard about this, he said, oh, you've done wrong. Killing the king is worse than killing a Brahmana. Because if you kill the king, he's the head of society. All society will dissolve. He's the figurehead that coordinates all the activities within society. And so it will not produce an auspicious result. So you have done wrong. You should know that we are Brahmanas. And as Brahmanas, all the common people, they worship the Brahmanas because of their power of forgiveness. The power of forgiveness. So you've done an extreme act by killing that king who stole the Kamadhenu cow. You should have forgiven him. So you should go on pilgrimage and visit all the holy places and to become purified. So Parashuram, he went on so many pilgrimages for a long time and then returned to the ashram, and then this pastime happened. Now, what is important here to understand is that all Gurujan should be obeyed. You should obey your mother and father. You should obey your senior devotees. But the Paramartik Guru, the Sadguru, who is transcendently situated, then Kim Uta, how much more the order of the divine Paramartik Guru should be followed. That is absolute. It cannot be doubted or compromised. So in this situation, Jamadagni, he had chastised Parashuram for taking revenge over the stealing of his Kamadhenu cow. He said, you should have shown forgiveness. But then when his own wife, the mother of Parashuram, was late bringing the water because she got enchanted by the devatas, then he was not very forgiving. And he told to Parashuram to cut off her head. So because he was not very forgiving, and because his response was not a measured response, it was an inordinate response. It was too extreme. So later, the sons of Kartavya Arjun came and they cut off the head of Jamadagni. So the teaching here is, it does not matter who you are. Even if you rise up to a position of a Gurujana, that means being senior or authority over someone else. Let's say you're in a local temple and you're the president of the local temple, so you're the local authority. Then all decisions should be made very carefully, because no one can escape the responsibility and the results of their actions. Even a great sage like Jamadagni, who overreacted in that situation, had to face a very severe reaction. So be careful, especially in an extreme or crisis situation. One should not have an extreme response or overreact. One should be very judicious, patient, have a measured response, and lean on the side of forgiveness wherever it's appropriate. Because Jamadagni himself got a reaction for this. Of course, later, Parishuram, he retrieved the head of his father from the sons of Kartavya Arjuna and put it together with his body, and by his mystic powers his father came back to life, and now he'd been purified from his previous offense to Renuka, Parishuram's mother. He became purified of that by that experience. So sometimes if we overreact or behave in a way which is not fully responsible or properly judicious, some reaction will come. But that reaction is also to purify us. It is for our benefit. And then Jamadagni, now purified, he became one of the Sapta Rishis. You know the 7 sages in the sky, the Sapta Rishis? He became one of the 7 Rishis along with Vishwamitra and Vashishta and Atri, Gautam, Bharadwaj and Vashishta. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is giving the example from the pastimes of Lord Ram, and Ram is giving the example from the pastimes of Lord Parishuram, like this. So many generations of wisdom are there in the Vedas, and they are all unanimous on this point. Agya Gurunam Avicharaniya. The order of the spiritual master should not be deliberated upon. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gave another example from the Ramayana. He said, and he's saying the same thing. Nivicharam Gurur Agya. Not Agya Guru Nam Avicharaniya, the other way around. Just the same thing expressed the other way. Nivicharam Guru Agya Maya Karya Mahatmana Sriyo Hyevam Bhavatyascha Mama Chaiva Visheshata. Lord Ramachandra, he spoke to his brother Lakshman and said, the order of a great personality like our father must be followed without consideration. Why? Shreyo hyevam bhavatyascha. Because there is shreya, there is some ultimate supreme auspiciousness in this order for me and also for you, for both. So then when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he quoted these verses before Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu was very happy, and lovingly he embraced Govinda and accepted him in his service. You should know that Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. Arjuna said to Krishna, "O Krishna, the mind is very restless and difficult to control. It is always engaged in sankalpa vikalpa, accepting and rejecting. What you accept one day, the next day you reject. Or what you accept today, after 15 years you can reject. The quicksand of the mind sometimes moves quickly or sometimes moves slowly. But the mind is always in a state of flux, either on a moment-by-moment basis or on a long-term basis. And so because the Mano-dharma, it is the religion of the mind to always be changing in accordance with the experience of duality in this world, so there is no anchor, there is no fixed position for the living entity. And he just wanders without shelter anywhere in this material world. And therefore, when the spiritual master gives instruction, like you should learn Upadeshamrita of Rupa Goswami, you should learn the Shishya-tattva, the prayers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, glorifying the holy name. You should learn and follow in your life the Mana Shiksha, instructions to the mind by Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. And taking these 3 poems into your heart, you can always measure in your life the degree to which we are following the instructions of Shikshastakam, Upadeshamrita and Mana Shiksha. To that degree, we are progressing and becoming successful and moving towards our ultimate goal. If Guru will say this, but we don't do it, then what? We are in the quicksand. We are floating free. Tomorrow, or after 5 years, or after 10 years, or after 20 years, you will come up with a new idea. That's the nature of the mind. So it cannot be like this. The order of Guru connects us with eternal, perfect, unchanging reality. And if one will follow those instructions, then all success will come. Now, we have described before an important verse from the Prameya Ratnavali of Baladev Vidyabhushan. It is also quoted in Bhakti Sandarbha. It is from Vaishnav Smriti Shastra, describing the process of Diksha, initiation. Because we come to the spiritual master, we take shelter for at least 1 year. And then we begin the process of initiation by going through 5 samskars, the Pancha Sanskar. So that Pancha Sanskar is described in Bhakti Sandarbha and also Prameya Ratnavali of Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan. That verse and the explanation we've given before. Today, I want to again discuss Pancha Sanskar, but as it is described in the Sanat-kumāra-saṁhitā. There's another explanation of Pancha Sanskar in the Sanat-kumāra-saṁhitā. It's in principle exactly the same, but in some nuances a little different. And those nuances, they shed light on the principle of Pancha Sanskar. So in the Sanat-kumāra-saṁhitā, which is a part of the Vaishnav Pancharatra, there Mahadev, Sadashiv, Lord Mahadev, Sadashiv, he is giving instructions to Narad. So previously, early in the class, we discussed this verse. Narad was instructing Prachinabahi. Now Narad himself is receiving instruction from his Gurujan, Sadashiv, in the Sanat-kumāra-saṁhitā. So there it is said, unto whom should Sri Guru give Diksha initiation? Unto whom should the spiritual master give the Gopal mantra? To Krishna, who is the beloved of the gopis, Gopijanna Vallabha. To whom? So, Nasrusruvam Pratibhruyan Nasam Vatsara Vasinam. Mahadev said, O Narad, the mantras for the worship of Gopijanna Vallabha, Krishna, the beloved of the gopis, should not be given to anyone who is not Susruva. Susruva. This word comes many times in Shastra. Like Prahlad Maharaj, when his friends told him, how can we attain perfection? So then Prahlad Maharaj said, Guru Susruvo Bhaktya. You should have devotion to the Guru and you should be Susrushava. Sususro Sardadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi. By serving pure devotees, one gets a taste for hearing and following what they have to say. Also in Upadeshamrita, Susrusayo Bhajana Bhigya Mananya Manya Nindari Shummirida Ipsita Sangalabhya. If you see that a person is chanting Hare Krishna even once, honor that person from your heart. If you see that a person has received Diksha in the true sense, then you must honor that person from the heart and also give Dandavat Pranam to that person. But if someone is Bhajana Bhigya, Ananyamanya Nindari Shunya, someone is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others, and they are realized in bhajan, realized in the service of Radha and Krishna, then Susrusraya, one should hear from them, and with the mood that what I am hearing, I will implement it in my life. So here the word Susrava means obedient. Susrava means desiring to hear, one who is very eager to listen. One who's eager not only to listen for entertainment, but to listen, to learn, and to serve. So this is the meaning of Susrava. Susrava means one who is obedient, one who desires to hear, one who desires to learn the subject, and to be attentive in services. So the first thing that Mahadev said, to whom should Guru give mantra? Oh, he said, don't give to a person who is not Susrusava. Understand? One who is not obedient, one who is not eager to hear and learn and serve. So how can the Guru discover whether the candidate for initiation has those qualities or not? So then the next instruction comes from Lord Shiva. Na samvatsara vasinam. Samvatsara means a year. So na samvatsara vasinam. One should not give initiation to the person who has not lived for 1 year in the ashram of the Guru. So, for those who are young and the brahmacharis, or it may be for those who are very old also, they may come and live in the ashram of the Guru for a whole year, so the Guru can observe them. And for those who are householders, who are living outside, they should just come to the ashram of the Guru again and again, and Sri Guru can observe them. We also invite everyone, please come to Vrindavan from before Kartik, like October, November, December, January, February, March, April, for all those months of the year. And then you can stay in the ashram and study and be studied also. And so, Nasam Vatsara Vasinam, the person who has not lived close to the Guru for at least 1 year, he should not receive mantra. So there's opportunity for everyone, those who are old and renounced, those who are young and renounced, and also those who are in the middle and they're married. There's always opportunity. Come, visit the ashram and hear and associate and serve. And gradually, when the Sri Guru detects that the candidate is Susrushava, then they can receive mantra. One should give these mantras to a person who is free from hypocrisy. That is free from pride, damba, free from greed. And one who is simple, free from other vices, one who is very simple and truthful and straightforward. So then Mahadev said, "Oh Narad, please hear from me and I will tell you about Diksha, spiritual initiation. Simply by hearing about the process of Diksha, even if you don't follow it, just hearing about the process of Diksha is so powerful, you become liberated." So liberation is not our goal. Our goal is prem, Krishna prem. So if you follow, if you hear and you follow, then we can attain Krishna prem. But if someone, this process is so powerful, if someone will just listen to it, they get liberated. So now Lord Shiva, he begins to explain the Pancha Sanskars. First of all, he said, the candidate disciple, he should become aware that every single place in the material world, from Brahmalok, the highest planet, where life lasts for millions of years, and where there's so much facility and absence of the disturbances. But even from Brahmalok, all the way down, all the planetary systems, all places are temporary. And they are destined for destruction. So don't invest there. Like our dear most Lord Jesus Christ, he said, the wise man built his house upon the rock. And the fool built his house on the sand. Because the sand is unsteady, it will move, or the ocean will come in and wash it away. So don't invest in the temporary plane. You can see that Chaitanya Academy, the temple room has doubled and tripled in size by the very hard work of our dear Adoksaj Prabhu. Where is he now? In the kitchen? Yes, okay. We'll speak to him later. So Adoksaj, this name Adoksaj is very important. Adoksaj means beyond the senses. Everything that is tangible by our senses in this world is doomed. So we should not invest there. By hearing from Sri Guru, we gather the courage to invest in that which is Adoksaj, beyond the senses. Because if you can make contact with that realm is indestructible, imperishable, eternal realm. Adoksaj. So our Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he said, if I had to sum up the message of the Gaudiya Math in only one word, it would be Adoksaj. Yes. Don't forget, otherwise you'll invest in some Ponzi scheme called the material world, where you always lose every time. So he's saying, the prospective disciple should be aware that everything which is within the range of our sense perception is destined for destruction. And that prospective disciple should directly feel the nature of this world that is simply filled with threefold miseries. The miseries caused by nature, too hot, too cold, no food, earthquake, famine, and so on. Miseries caused by the material body, one's own body and mind, and miseries caused by other living entities who may attack. So the world is only filled with these sufferings. He should understand. You can see whether you are a candidate for transcendental knowledge by checking yourself against these criteria. The disciple should see that all types of material happiness have an expiry date. They will all come to an end. And not only will they expire and then, oh well, no, but they lead to attachment and pain. More attachment and pain. So when you see some pleasure, you should say, oh, this is pain in disguise. Understand? Because the parinam, that means the result, the transformation of material pleasure is simply pain. If pain came to us with a badge, hi, I'm pain, please, you would run away. So pain comes to us with a badge saying, hi, I'm pleasure. And due to ignorance, we can fall for that trick again and again. So knowing that all types of material happiness come to an end and they lead only to pain, a wise person renounces all worldly activities and he is no longer interested in trying to enjoy or exploit the world of the sense perceptions. Yes, note it down. Think, am I a disciple? This is not even the initiation yet. This is the precursor, the beginning of initiation. So when a person no longer desires to enjoy the things of this world, he should consider carefully how to finally sever all connection with the temporal sphere. Have you thought about it? How to sever all connection with the temporal sphere? Or are you thinking, I really like being a devotee in this world? I can put on a nice tilak and dress up nicely, and it's great being a devotee. But here, no. Only the prospective candidate has already deliberated on this. I am fixing my determination to sever all connection with the temporal sphere. Because I understand that when a person succeeds in that, then he attains the everlasting joy. So, before we discuss the verse of Prameya Ratnavali, describing that initiation has 5 samskars, that means 5 stages where we receive a sanskar, an impression, which makes our Sanskriti, purifies us. We become purified by those impressions. So what are they? Tapaha pundram tathanama mantro yagas chapanchama anihi pancha sanskara paramaikanti hetava. So the first one is tapa. So usually in the Madhva Sampradaya, tapa means burning. So the initiate, the first sanskar, he is branded with the sign of the chakra and the conch, the signs of Lord Vishnu. So the guru will take a hot iron and put it in the fire and then call the disciple and then he'll be branded. So that is called tapa. But what the meaning of tapa is it means anutap, that one's heart is burning with regret of wasting time in this material world. So, as you can see here in the Sanat-kumāra-saṁhitā, the tapa is being described here because the mentality of the disciple is explained. Oh, I am suffering in this world. Alas, alas, I should leave the path of independence, life, separate from God, and take to the life of devotion. So he feels anutap, he feels regrets for the previous activities. And then pundra means that the guru gives tilak. So pundra is called urdhva pundra, our tilak goes up. It means that we turn our face to the divine realm. And we have no anchor of ambition in this world. The anchor of our ambition is in the divine world. So that is the meaning of the sanskar of receiving tilak. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, in our sampradaya, we don't do the branding. So don't worry, if you want to follow bhakti, you don't have to be branded. But rather, the guru should check that the disciple is actually a penitent. He feels repentance over his past. And in the Sanat-kumāra-saṁhitā, it's described that the guru will give the disciple the mark of the conch and the chakra with chandan, with sandalwood paste. So in this way, there's some slight nuance between the presentation in the Prameya Ratnavali as it is practiced in the Madhva Sampradaya and here in the Sanat-kumāra-saṁhitā. But the underlying principle of tapa, repentance, and then urdhva pundra, turning towards the spiritual world, is the same. So then the next samskar is called nama. That is, the guru gives the holy name Mahamantra and gives the disciple a new spiritual name. Because at first when we come to guru, we have a name, Giovanni, Alberto. Yes. So you will have some name. This name was your karma. So, and it was the name given to the physical body. But by initiation, then all the karma in the body becomes neutralized and one receives a spiritual body. And that spiritual body and the soul is only Das, the servant of Krishna. So one should receive a name of Krishna plus the word Das or Dasi. That means I am the servant of Krishna. Govinda Das, Madhav Das, Damodar Das, Radha Dasi, etc. So now Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he has explained that among the Pancha Sanskar, the 5 Sanskars, the first 3 take place within the gross material world. The disciple is still in this world, the first 3 Sanskars. But the 4th Sanskar, when Guru gives the mantra Diksha, the Diksha mantras, this is does not take place within this world. This is something beyond our perception. And by the mantra Diksha, that is when the Supreme Lord sends the spiritual body. The physical body, though it is still there, but the prarabdha karmas which are in the physical body, that means the karmas that you are experiencing in this life, they become nullified, they become neutralized. And the spiritual body appears inside that. And now you engage in the service of the deity by a spiritual body which is not impeded by the external covering of the material body, because all the prarabdha karmas have been neutralized. So the first 3 sanskars, they take place in the still on the gross material platform. But the 4th sanskar, receiving mantra diksha and then engaging in the service of the deity, that is called yaga. The 5th sanskar, these are transcendental. And therefore, the person who has undergone the first 3 sanskars is a kanishta adhikari. That means the neophyte devotee, the prakrita bhakta, sa bhakta prakrita smritaha. But when the Guru sees that the disciple has the qualities mentioned here by Sadashiva, then he can give the mantra for the worship of Gopijana Vallabha, Krishna, the beloved of the gopis. And the next 2 sanskars take place on the transcendental platform. And now the devotee becomes a Madhyam Adhikari. He becomes a Madhyam Adhikari, the intermediate level of devotion. So by this, you can understand, you can come to understand whether you are undergoing the Diksha as a formality or as a ritual or as the, that is called Avidvad Rudi Diksha. Or whether it is Vidvad Rudi Diksha, Diksha in the real sense, according to the conception of liberated souls. So our acharyas today and in recent times, they are very kind, they are very merciful, and for our benefit, they may give the mantra Diksha. That means the 4th samskar, before the disciple is completely ready. If they see some eagerness, some strong desire, they may do that. And this is why my Gurudev, very privately, he said to me, he said, "Oh Prem, it looks as if I have given Diksha to thousands of people, but in truth I have only given to 2 or 4. Like this. So consider very carefully this deep deliberation on the process of initiation, Shishya-tattva, the principle of disciple, and Guru-tattva, the principle of Guru, so that we can follow the path of Vidvat Rudi Diksha. That means initiation not only as an external ritual, but as an internal divine transcendental process by which divyam jnanam yathodadyat koryat papa sasankshayam tasmat diksheti sa prokta deshikais tattvako viday. The learned persons who know the conclusions of the Vedas, they have said that Diksha is the process that takes away all material impressions, samskars, and worldly sinful reactions and gives divya gyan, realization of the form of your Ishtadev, Krishna, the beloved of Radhika and Braja Gopis in Vrindavan, and realization of your Vishesh Sambandha, special relationship with him. The Madhyam Adhikari is characterized by Kripa, Maitri, Kripopeksha, Sakaroti, Samadhyama. It means he feels love towards the Lord. He has friendship with the devotees. He's very merciful and kind to innocent persons. And to those who are inimical to Krishna and the path of bhakti, then he neglects them. But when the devotee rises through the stage of Madhyam and comes to Uttam Adhikari, then the principle of neglecting those who are averse to Krishna becomes slackened. Because when the consciousness is purified and one begins to see Krishna everywhere and enters into the Uttam Adhikar, actually it is not like Sarva Bhuteshu Ya Pasyat Bhagavad Bhavam Atma. But when the devotee from Nishta, Madhyam Adhikari, because we are discussing at the moment the Panchatrik Marg. So up to Anartha Vritti is Kanishta in Panchatrik Marg, Archan Marg. Then Nishta is Madhyam, and then Uttam is from Ruchi onwards. So the Uttam Adhikari, when he comes to Ruchi, then his tendency to neglect those who are inimical, it becomes somewhat slackened. And he thinks very carefully how to bring about good fortune for them. And then when he becomes Uttam Bhagavat, actually, then in the stage of the Uttam Bhagavat, he sees everyone is engaged in Krishna's service. So then he does not actively preach because he thinks everyone loves Krishna except for me. So such a devotee, when the Kripa Shakti of Krishna enters into them, then their vision becomes adjusted. And Uttam Bhagavat can then discriminate between the favorable and the unfavorable, the innocent and the envious and so on, and associate accordingly and give guidance accordingly. So coming back to the description of Sadashiv, Sadashiv is telling to Narad, a wise person is aware that the shelter of Krishna is difficult to attain. It's most difficult to attain. And therefore, being distressed by material life, he will take shelter. Shri Gurum Sharnam Brajet. Shri Gurum Sharnam Brajet. Just last week in Latvia, in Chaitanya Academy in Latvia, we discussed the Mundak Upanishad, where it is said, Tad Vijnanatam Sagurum Eva Bigachet. In order to get realized knowledge, one must approach spiritual master. And here Lord Shiva in the Sanat-kumāra-saṁhitā is saying the same thing. Shri Gurum Sharnam Brajet. Because it's very difficult to attain the shelter of Krishna, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master. So now Lord Shiva is describing the qualities of the Sadguru. He said, Shanto vimatsaraha Krishna bhakto nanya prayojana ananya sadhana sriman krodaloba vivarjita. Sri Krishna rasa tattva gya, Sri Krishna mantra vidambara, Krishnastrayo nityam mantra bhakta sada suchihi. The meaning is that the bona fide Guru, Sadguru, is peaceful. Even in the midst of great disturbance, his mind is not disturbed. He is non-envious. That means the spiritual master will not think Oh, anyone in my group is good and anyone not in my group is bad. He will see everyone is a soul. And any Vaishnava, anywhere in the world, in any group, they are dear to Krishna. They are giving their life to the service of Krishna and Krishna loves them. So I must also love them. So the Sadguru is completely free from any envy of anyone and always has love for all Vaishnavas everywhere. There is no smell at all of sectarian spirit in a pure saint. The pure Guru is devoted to Krishna. He is not interested in any worldly activities that are not related to Krishna. He is filled with the spiritual virtues, being free from anger and greed. And he is Krishna Rasa-tattvagya. He has realization of Rasa-tattva also. Only to know Vedanta, to understand philosophy and metaphysics is not enough. The Sri Guru should know the Rasa-tattva, the aesthetics, realize the beauty of Krishna. And it is all the Leela of Krishna is driven by Rasa. See, Krishna is Kamdev and he is very thirsty to relish Madhurya Rasa. So then Lord Shiva said, Sri Guru is expert in the mantras. He is Krishna mantra vidam. That means that he realizes the deities of the mantra and the relationship with the deities of the mantra. Not only learn it in memorizing so many mantras. Sri Guru is always surrendered to Krishna and taking shelter of Krishna. Devotee to chanting the holy names and glorifying Krishna. Always pure, pious and engaged in bhakti. And he shows, the bona fide Guru shows his disciples how to chant, how to understand Shastra, how to serve the deities. And most importantly here, very important, Sampradayi, that Sri Guru himself is a member of an authentic Sampradaya coming from Sri Krishna himself. So in Kali Yuga there are 4 Sampradayas, Brahma, Rudra, Chatushan Sampradaya and Sri Sampradaya. 4 bona fide Sampradayas are mentioned in scripture in this Kali Yuga. So Sri Guru should be himself a disciple in the authentic Parampara. And Kripa Purna, full of mercy and detached from sense gratification. Then, now Lord Shiva described the qualifications of the disciple. The virtues that are described in relation to Guru, the disciple should also have such virtues. Susrushur Guru Padayaho. He should have faith in the service of the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Guru Nitanta Bhaktascha. He should be constantly engaged in devotion to his spiritual master and have the attainment of transcendence as his goal of life. In Chaitanya Charitamrita he said, Krishna Surya Samamaya Ayandaka, Jahan Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Adhika. Krishna is like the sun and Maya is like darkness. So you can see here the sun is shining and just next to the sun there is the shadow. So in the same way, when our attention is focused on serving our Guru, then Maya disappears. And we begin to experience the presence of Krishna at every moment. But the moment we forget Krishna, even if we're engaged in so-called devotional service, but we have forgotten Krishna and we have forgotten Guru. In other words, we try to engage in the activities of bhakti independently of the instruction of Guru, those activities will not cause one to become free from the covering of Maya. Krishna will not reciprocate with even what they look like devotional activities, but they're performed in a state of independence. So you can check your own consciousness. If a person is serving Guru, then the influence of Maya disappears and they become Krishna conscious. And therefore, they relish Guru Seva. Guru Seva for the surrendered disciple is not a chore, it is not a difficulty, it is not a burden. It is just pure nectar at every moment. Why? Because the connection with Krishna facilitates the withdrawal of the curtain of Maya and the direct experience of Krishna each moment. And so Guru Seva is relished with ruchi, with taste, as being a nectar for the authentic disciple. And if the disciple is serving, everything is difficult, and it seems like a burden and a problem, and there's no awareness of Krishna. Why? Because the devotional activity itself is done with a swatantra swabhav, independent spirit, not for the pleasure of Guru, but for the pleasure of myself. Just like Ekalavya. Ekalavya was worshipping Dronacharya, but not for Dronacharya. He was worshipping Dronacharya to advance his ambitions ambitions in this world. He was worshipping Dronacharya out of envy for Dronacharya's real disciples, like Arjuna and the Pandavas, in a spirit of competition with them. So now Sadashiv is saying, Yat sakshat sevanam tasya premna bhagavato bhavet. The service to Sri Guru is non-different from loving service to Krishna. When will we realize this? Service to Sri Guru in the mission of Guru, under the guidance of Guru, is non-different from the service of Sri Krishna. The wise who are learned in the Vedas and all Vedangas declare that service to Sri Guru is the path to the transcendental world. The disciple should pray, "Oh Jagannath, oh Lord of the universe, you are the Guru of the universe, and you have descended in the form of my spiritual master. So please rescue me, because I am burning in the fire of birth and death. I am being bitten by the black snake of time. I am drowning in the ocean of birth and death. Please rescue me." So, Lord Shiva said, so such a disciple should receive initiation one time only. Padambu Jaika Bhag Eka Diksha Prokta Manishibi. Those who are learned say that Diksha initiation is one time only once. It's become a problem in Kali Yuga that someone goes here and takes initiation, then he goes there and takes initiation, then one never overcomes the Manodharma. Manodharma, the religion of the mind to accept and reject always. So initiation is only from one Guru and one time, forever. And then one should follow the instruction of that spiritual master, and one can hear from other great saints. They are Shiksha Gurus, instructing spiritual masters, but we will only accept what is exactly in line with the teaching of our Diksha Guru. So then, one should approach the lotus feet of the spiritual master and serve and learn the truth. Sa sandehanam pravatya bodhayitva puna puna. All one's doubts should be removed, and one should learn the truth by asking questions again and again and again. That means that in the association of the Guru, one should hear repeatedly. Because the first time it is effective, but we may have some resistance. Our mind may be making some static, some maika vyavadan, that is making some obstacle to the heart's receiving the Shabda Brahma. So we should inquire again and again. And even if one has received the Shabda Brahma and divine realization, again one should inquire, because the subject of Sri Krishna is Para Para Sunya Gabi Bhakti Rasa Sindhu. It is like an ocean with no shore and no bottom. It is unlimited. So when the disciple is qualified in such a way, then the spiritual master is so happy at heart, and he gives the mantra to the worship of Gopijana Vallabha Shri Krishna to the disciple, the peaceful disciple who has surrendered and who has strong faith. So Chandanena Mrida Bapi Villiket Bahumulaya, using sandalwood paste or tilak, the spiritual master will draw the conch shell and the chakra on the shoulders of the disciple. So that corresponds to the first samskar. It represents, here it's said with chandan, whereas in Pramaya Ratnavali it should be with the branding. But the principle is the same. That is accepting the mood of a penitent, of one who is filled with contrition and repenting for his own faults. Then Urdhva Pundram Tatarkoyat. Then the spiritual master should give the tilak on the forehead. And the tilak should be applied in 12 places. And then the spiritual master gives the mantra. He should explain the meaning of the mantra and give the disciple a name ending with the title Das, servant. Then that disciple who has just received initiation, he should manage a feast to feed all the Vaishnavas. So that's important. When you receive initiation, it cannot be if 3 or 4 or 5 people receive initiation, then there's 5 feasts on that day. But at least the next day or the next day, you should arrange a time that there is manage a feast and feed all the Vaishnavas to get their blessings. One should do Guru Puja, worship the spiritual master with the garments, ornaments and other gifts. Then, this is very important. This line of the Sanat-kumāra-saṁhitā, our Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he would often quote, Sarvasvam Guru Vedadyat. Sarvasvam Guru Vedadyat. It means one should offer everything to Guru. Everything. Body, minds, words, wealth, everything should be offered in the service of Guru. Why? Because all the things of this world, they are like a spider's web. And those who are like flies, interested in the decaying things of this world, they become trapped in that, they become stuck in that. Wealth is known as Lakshmi. But there are 2 types of Lakshmi. Mahalakshmi in the spiritual world and the Chanchal Lakshmi of this world. So she is a manifestation of Maya Devi. All those persons who are worshipping Lakshmi in the Hindu temples, and Lakshmi is there giving a blessing with a big pot and all gold coins are falling out. This Lakshmi is Maya Devi, not the Mahalakshmi of Lord Narayan. In this painting, beautiful painting or deity of Lakshmi, where is Lord Narayan? So if you worship Lakshmi without Narayan standing there, that is Maya. Just like Ravan, he tried to steal away Sita. Sita Devi is Lord Ram's Lakshmi. He was not interested in Ram. He was interested in Sita only. So if you're interested in Lakshmi and not Narayan, then you are not worshipping Mahalakshmi. You are worshipping Durga. Durga means prison house. You're worshipping your own jail keeper. And whatever money comes from this, oh, this is like death. But whatever is used, whatever wealth is used in the service of Guru and Krishna, then, oh, this becomes the cause of our great fortune. We become propelled towards our goal instead of trapped in the material world. So, sarvasvam gurave dadyat. Then the disciple should offer everything to his spiritual master. And if he is nishkinchan, if he is completely penniless, then he can just offer his body and mind and words in the service of Guru. So then, ya eta panchabi vidvam sanskarai sanskrito bhavet. By these 5 samskars, one becomes Sanskrita. He becomes purified. We were discussing this also in Latvia. That how can you understand the transcendental Sanskrit literature? You cannot understand the Sanskrit literature by only studying Sanskrit. You can only know it by yourself being Sanskrita, because the word Sanskrita means purified. So then, by these 5 sanskars, one becomes purified. And dasya bhagi sakristasya nanyata kalpakotibi. Then that person becomes the servant of Krishna, and he cannot give up the service of Krishna. Even if he's in this world for another 10 million lifetimes, he will never give up Krishna's service. So the great sages have said these 5 sanskars, tapa, tilak, nam, mantra, and the yaga. These are the 5 sanskars. And by this one attains all spiritual success. Now, this is very interesting. In the Vaishnava Smriti Shastra, then yaga is sometimes translated as service to the deity. In other words, after receiving mantra, one should be trained in archana and engaged in the service of the deity. So this is correct. But there's some nuance here. In the Sanat-kumāra-saṁhitā, it is said that the yaga, Guru Vaishnavayo Puja Yaga Ityabhidiyate. Yaga means the worship of the spiritual master and the Vaishnavas. So it's most important part of Diksha to worship and serve Guru and pure Vaishnavas. And only then the full purification of the Diksha process takes place. So, Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he used to say that if you ask, who is the topmost object of service? Then someone may say, oh, Radhika. Radhika is the topmost object of service. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say, no. See, Guru is the topmost object of service. Why? Because without the service of Sri Guru, there is no service of Krishna, there is no service of Radhika. There is nothing. Nirapankpeksha munim shantam naivaryam samadarshanam anubrajam yaham nityam pujayatyangri renubi. See, Krishna was instructing Uddhav. He said, hey Uddhav, my saints, my pure devotees, they are near apeksh. That means they're not dependent on anything in this world. Whatever is happening or not happening, they're engaged in bhakti. They don't depend on anyone. If it looks like a Vaishnava or Guru is dependent on someone else, you should see that Shri Guru has given mercy as if he is dependent on that person to give that person a chance for service. Like I remember my Gurudev when he was very old and he could hardly move. So then his servants, they had to dress him, bathe him, feed him, everything. But one should maintain, no, this is not, Guru is not helpless. Guru has the power to deliver the whole universe. You know, when Srila Narottam Das, when my Gurudev was in this condition, I was remembering the pastimes of Srila Narottam Das Thakur. When he was old, he became paralyzed and could not move. So then some smarter Brahmanas, they criticize him. They say, look, that Narottam Das Thakur, he's from a low caste, from a Shudra family. But he gave Diksha initiation to Brahmanas. And now, because of these sins, look, now he's paralyzed by his sins. So hearing this, some disciples, they were in great distress, and with tears in their eyes, they came and said, oh Gurudev, they are saying that you became paralyzed because of the sin of initiating the high caste, and you are from the lower caste. Even just to hear these words is so painful. Why? Arche Vishnav Shiladi Gurushu Naramati Vaishnave Jati Buddhi. If you have the idea that the deity is made of stone, that Guru is an ordinary human being, or that a devotee belongs to any caste of this world, then you have a hellish mentality. And by that hellish mentality, then you will go to the corresponding destination. So it was very painful for them. So Srila Narottam Das Thakur said, organize one big Sankirtan. So they made a big tent and they invited everyone to come to a Sankirtan. And they carried Srila Narottam Das Thakur there, completely paralyzed on a palanquin. And then when the Kirtan started, he jumped up and began dancing around in the Kirtan like a lion. Haribol! Haribol! Huh? And then all those persons who had criticized became amazed. And then at the end of the Kirtan, then Srila Narottam Das Thakur got back on the palanquin and became paralyzed. So one should not see Guru with the worldly vision. Oh, Guru is dependent on his disciples. No. Only Sri Guru is so merciful that he acts as if dependent on the disciples to give them a chance to render service. And also by that service, it is an exchange of love. Dadati pratigrinati guyamakiti prichiti bhungte bhojayate chaiva sadvida pratilakshanam. Rupa Goswami Pad said there are 6 exchanges of love. To give something and receive something. To open one's heart in confidence and hear some confidential instruction. And to give prasad and to receive some remnants. Why would Rupa Goswami describe these 6 exchanges of love in Upadeshamrita, which is the very essence, a very short instruction? There's no space in this poem for anything which is superfluous. So this is not superfluous. Oh, these instructions are important, and in addition to that, there are some other things. Be nice to each other. 6 exchanges, how to be nice. No, this is essential. Why is it essential? Because by the 6 exchanges of love, there is the transmission of Swarup Shakti. The divine internal potency is transmitted from Guru to disciple through the 6 exchanges of love. So, Nirapaksham, Krishna is telling Uddhav, the pure devotee is not dependent on anyone or anything or any circumstances. Muni, Munim means very thoughtful. He always absorbed in deep, profound contemplation on the nectar of Krishna's Vrindavan Lila and Gaura Lila. Shantam, Sri Guru is peaceful. Any pure devotee is peaceful. Nirvairam, Nirvairam means not having any enemy in this world. If someone becomes the enemy of a devotee, but the devotee never feels that this person is his enemy. I remember when I was traveling around the world with my Guru, we would go places and other very senior persons, some devotees and gurus even, They tried to make sure that no one can go and have the darshan of Srila Narayan Maharaj. And they did so many things against him. And when any disciple would come and say, hey, Gurudev, this happened, then he would say, they are like my children. Sometimes the child in the lap, sometimes they may vomit, sometimes they may pass stool, or sometimes the baby in the womb kicks. But the mother doesn't mind. So the devotees sometimes became upset. Guru, they are like my children. So I never take any offense. So I saw in the life of my Guru, even if someone tried to become his enemy, but he never became the enemy of that person. So Naivaryam Samadarshanam. Samadarshanam means equal vision. Happiness and distress is same. Profit and loss is the same. All the souls in this world, they are same, Krishna's eternal servants. So not having any worldly partiality. So Krishna is saying, these are the characteristics of my pure devotees. And therefore, anubrajamyaham nityam. Wherever they walk, I run behind them. Why? Puryat and Renubi, to take their foot dust and purify myself. So you should know that in any place where a pure devotee is walking, that Krishna is walking behind him. Even if you cannot see it, but it's true. And Krishna is taking the foot dust of that devotee to purify himself. So some persons have explained that, well, all the universes are inside Krishna, so he's taking their foot dust to purify the universes. This is like an ontological, metaphysical explanation. But the real explanation is only the explanation of prema, love. That is that Krishna feels that this devotee is serving me with body, mind and words and his whole life. So what can I give him in return? I don't have sufficient wealth in my treasury house to repay this devotee who has given his whole heart to me. And therefore I am indebted to him forever. So I'll just take his foot dust so I can somewhat become purified from the debt. Because one type of impurity is being in debt. Indebtedness is considered to be a type of impurity. So I keep taking his foot dust because I am every day more and more indebted. Huh? So our Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he used to say, Mad Guru Sri Jagad Guru. My Guru is Guru of the whole universe. Mannata Jagannatha. And my Nath, my Lord, is Jagannath. So Krishna, Lord Jagannath, is not the God of some narrow sect. He is the God of all reality. He is the Lord and shelter of all reality. And because my Guru is near and dear, intimate associate of that Lord of all existence, therefore, my Gurudev is the Jagad Guru, Guru of the whole world. My Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami, he used to say, Veera Bhogya Vasundara. This is a famous saying, but he used to quote it in a spiritual context. So it's a saying from the maxim, from the general world, Veera Bhogya Vasundara. It means that fortune favors the brave. Those who are Veer. Veer means the heroes. Then Vasundara, the world. Bhogya means is enjoyed. The world is enjoyed by the bold, those who are valiant, those who are brave. You can see mainly in some situation, many people are hesitant, many people are reluctant, people feel fear. But who becomes successful? Those people who are bold and brave. They don't hesitate and they throw themselves into the activity with the full determination. So it may be by karma, they get destroyed and they completely fail. But the ones who are not destroyed by their karma, you cannot become successful in anything without having the great determination. So Vira Bhoga Vasundara. So it is said that among the kings and among the Kshatriyas, the warriors, those enjoy the world who are bold and brave, valiant. So our Param Gurudev used to say, you should see how this applies to spiritual life. You can see that Hanuman is in Dasya Ras. And there's so much Veera Ras also in his pastimes. He went alone to Lanka and fought with Ravan, and he burnt Lanka down. Alone, what to speak of coming with all the other monkeys and Lord Ramachandra again later. He came there and he found Sita. And he could have taken Sita, but Sita said, no, no, my Lord should come and rescue me. So, even you see, Hanuman is sitting like this, is called Veer Asana, the hero's pose. So Hanuman is in Dasyaras. So our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, he used to say that all the components of Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya and Madhurya are present in Madhurya Rasa. So if a person is in Madhurya Rasa, following the mood of the gopis, don't think he has to be all like scared of bumblebees. Or sometimes the gopis become scared. Radharani is afraid of a bumblebee. No, because the devotee is in Madhurya Rasa and all the qualities of all the other rasas are included in Madhurya Rasa. So Veera Rasa, the heroism, is also included in Madhurya Rasa, in the romantic mood. And therefore, it is one of the prominent symptoms of a sadhu in this world who is in Madhurya Rasa, the romantic mood, that he has the courage and bravery, or like Hanuman, or like a Kshatriya. So my Gurudev used to say, just see, one life is very short. We had so many lives in the past, and we may have so many lives in the future. So one life is very short. And if we can give that life totally in the service of Guru, we can attain Radha Krishna's eternal association and service. It is only a question of having the courage to do it. Understand? Ask yourself, can you fully give your life in the service of Guru? One small life. And attain the highest destination, which is very difficult to attain. Yo Brahma, Ruja, Shukanarda, Bishvamukhya. Even for 12 Mahajans and 4 Kumaras and Nava-yogendras and so many sages, it's very difficult to attain. But one life, if we can have the courage to surrender fully to Sri Guru, then Veera Bhogya Vasundara. Fortune favors the brave and that person who is courageous. In the service of Guru-tattva, they attain the Nitya Seva of Radha and Krishna. So consider what you want to do with your life and act accordingly. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande. Hare Krishna. I want to say that Radha and Krishna are very beautiful, so sweet. If we can realize just a little, then it will seem like an uncomplicated choice. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, he said, Krishna Panga Tarangita Dumanija Sambeda Veni Krite Radhaya Smita Kanti Radhaya Smita Kanti Suraduni Puro Nipiyamritam Antas Tosha Tushara Samplava Plava Vyalida Tapochaya Kranta sapti jaganti samprativayam sarvodvam sarvodvam madhyasmahe. The meaning is this. Krishna panga tarangita dumanijasam vedaveni krite. See, Krishna has beautiful lotus eyes. And when he glances, then waves of beauty emanate from Krishna, just like Jumanija, that means the daughter of the sun, Yamuna Devi. Yamuna Devi, the goddess Yamuna, is the daughter of the sun god. So just as there are like sparkling waves of sapphire light in the Jamuna, when Krishna glances, there are sapphire waves of his sham-colored beauty, just like the flow of the Jamuna. And on the other side, Radhaya smita chandrika surudani puro nipiyamritam. When Srimati Radhika smiles. Why? Because Krishna glances and the waves, dark waves of his sapphire beauty touch Radhika and she smiles. And when she smiles, then her teeth sparkle. And it's like Chandrika, moonbeams. And moonbeams are white. And her beauty is also new at every moment, making waves. And so the beauty of Radhika's smile is like waves of the Ganga, which is a light color. And where the Ganga and the Jamuna meet, at Prayag, you can see that is called Triveni. But when you go to the Triveni, you only see 2 rivers, you don't see 3. Why? Because the Saraswati is there underground. It is under the sand. So there are 3 rivers there. So the 3rd river, when Krishna glances to Radhika and Radhika smiles at Krishna, the 3rd river is the tosha, the satisfaction in the heart of their devotees. Lalita Vishaka, Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari. And any pure devotee in this world who has the darshan of Radha and Krishna. If someone in this world has the darshan of the glance of Krishna and the smile of Radhika, then antas tosha tushara samplavi plava vyalida taputschaya. The meaning is that, there is a flow of satisfaction in the heart, like the Saraswati river. And this flow of Saraswati river is so powerful. This satisfaction, the spiritual joy that comes from realizing the Yugala Priti, the love of Radha and Krishna. Vyalida tap uchchaya. In this world there is tap, burning misery. Not one, millions of burning miseries. But Vyalida tap uchchaya. Lava Vyalida. Poetry is so beautiful. Lava means a very small amount. A small amount of this tiny particle of the satisfaction that you feel realizing the sweetness of Radha and Krishna. Then it is like, if you're eating some cream, then after eating, maybe there's some still on your mouth here, little bit, during Chaturmasya on your mustache. There's a little bit of cream there. And then someone tells you, oh Prabhu, you have some cream on your mouth. Then what do? Like that. Just lick, one lick, and it's gone. Like that. No, very good. So in the same way, Vyalida taputschaya, if a person experiences just a little portion of the satisfaction of seeing the love of Radha and Krishna, then all the great accumulation of abundant suffering of the material existence is just licked away in a moment. Very nice. Gone. Even the suffering turns into joy and is licked away in a second. And then that devotee, Kranta sapta jaganti samprativayam saravutta madhyas mahe. Then that devotee finds himself at once beyond the Bur, Bhuva, Swaha, Mahalok, Janalok, Tapalok, Saklok, beyond 7 planetary systems, beyond Viraja, beyond Brahma Jyoti, beyond Vaikuntha, on the top of all the worlds in Goloka Vrindavan. Yes. So we can only say Kim Uta. If a very small amount of the joy, of satisfaction of realizing Radha Krishna just smiling and glancing at each other can do this, then what to speak of the joy which is waiting there for those who make their life successful. And it just requires give this one life in the service of Shri Guru. Bale Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai, Varsani Wali ki jai, Jai Jai Sri Radhe Shyam. Gaur Premanand.